Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
There's that song, Damage Control. And this is that show, Damage Control. Rob Sobieski and Joe Reichel are in the studio from Damage Control Services. They're here to answer your questions about something that might have gone wrong in your yard and caused your house to need a little fixing up, or maybe a lot of fixing up. The phone number to call if you'd like to be on the show, whether it's for a question or just to join in on the conversation, is the same. It is WOCA's Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. So we control the climate and we control the damage. Good morning, guys. How was your
We're in control
holiday?
Here.
We're in control. We missed you last week. We were having Christmas.
We missed being here.
Did you really?
Yep.
We're having Christmas.
One thing about what we do is disasters can happen at any time. So,
did it happen on Christmas?
We didn't have any.
Nothing on Christmas Day, no.
You don't carry. Does anybody carry beepers anymore? Those are past tense, right?
That's past tense, yeah.
People do still carry them.
Oh, really?
For doctors, I think.
Did you ever?
People.
I mean, in doing the job you do now, did you ever have a thing that in a buzz you go, oh no? Is it good news or bad news when it buzzes? Because it's business, but you know that somebody's had a tree fall or something.
Our phones are on 24 hours a day, every day. So, I mean, we could get a call, and we've had calls at 3 in the morning.
Those are no, of course.
Yeah, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
so do you take
come
turns?
at any time?
Do you say, look, you're on call, I'm going to be with my family? Do you ever do that? Like you each kind of split it up a little bit?
We do. We do
Sort
that.
of.
Yeah, but since it's the three of us, we're pretty much all there. But one of us will take the phone, the office phone will be forwarded to one of our phones 24 hours a day. We'll take it for a month or 2 months and then say, okay, it's someone else's turn to take the calls.
A lot of what we do, we get a lot of our business. The mass majority of our business is from referrals. Mm-hmm. And these are from relationships that we've built either in the community or in networking groups that Rob and I both belong to. So these are relationships that we've made with individual people, and they're going to call us if something happens, or if they've got a loved one or a friend, something happens. They're calling our number. So, and that's why we are on call even when we're on vacation. We might be away. We're going to take the call, because our cell phones are what we use, our personal cell phone numbers. So
there's almost like a web between the jobs you've done and the jobs you will do. There's some kind of a connection between all of them.
That's right.
Yes.
Really? So you're working on one house. You say, well, I got this job because of Mrs. Jones, and she told these people about me because I worked on her house 2 months ago or something.
We have, as a matter of fact, yesterday we were sitting down looking at the different jobs. We didn't get through all of them, but different jobs and how we got them throughout the year last year. And, we're trying to like I said, a lot of our jobs come from referrals. We were just talking, 2 of the jobs that we did last week were sewer backups. One came from a relationship through a plumbing company, a referral from them.
Right.
And another came, straight plumbing, and another one came from Chris Nearing Carpet Care. So, a relationship that Rob's built with him. So, we get, and then, once we do work for those people, they oftentimes refer us as well. So,
do you ever have an attorney that had a sewer backup?
Not a sewer backup, but one of our local attorneys, John Pachin, good friend of mine, good friend of ours actually. Yeah. He's referred several jobs to us, Pachin Law, and he had a slab leak just this past year in his office, and flooded almost half of the downstairs office.
Oh, wow.
The carpet was all wet, and we went in and dried what we could and removed carpet, and then replaced carpet, and then a couple
months later.
Yeah, a couple months later.
We had a roof issue with the drain, which flooded one of the upstairs offices. So it's these relationships. I mean, we come in.
Yeah, right.
We started with one thing, and then now they have our number. They know that we're a person to have on speed dial. And so as soon as something happens, the office manager calls us immediately. There's no guessing, no calling John or whoever and saying, who should I call? Who's next? What do I do?
Did they ever call you for advice on maintenance? Like you just mentioned something about the drainage. It was clogged up. So you wouldn't clean that out. You would, if somebody called you and said, look, I heard you on the radio talking about I could be flooded with a drained gutter, and I can't get up there. I'm 86 years old, and it's 2 stories up there. How do I get it out of there? And
yeah, we get calls like that.
Do you actually do that, or do you refer somebody else?
It depends on the job. Some of them we do refer out, but some of them are easy enough. We can take care of it on the spot at sometimes.
Yeah, we've got clients where we have cleaned their gutters for them and blown the roof off. So
probably
really
saved them a lot of money.
Yeah,
it really depends what it is, but.
You have a phone call and a question that Joe Martone wanted me to ask you. Let's go to the phone first. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hey.
Yeah, I have a question on water backup. From sewers. Is it common?
It is fairly common, sure. It could be a number of things, but yeah, it is a common occurrence.
There are an insurance agent. We have the endorsement water backup of sewer, and I always add it because it's like $25.
That's a good idea.
I didn't know how common it really was in Florida. I know during this hurricane in Orlando, they had a lot of problems because the substations couldn't keep up, and the water was backing up into people's homes. But that was during a catastrophe. So, so that's one of the reasons I always, recommend that people put that on their insurance.
That's a very, very good idea. Because
it's like $25 a year, but I didn't know how common it really was in Florida.
That's all it is.
Wow, that's something you wouldn't want to turn down.
But the bad thing about the septic backup is that it takes everything has to come out when it's a septic backup. That is contaminated, the worst contamination there is. So that is the most expensive of the water restoration or water remediation projects that we have to take care of. Just that everything that comes in contact with that water is then unsalvageable.
$5,000 coverage usually limited.
Is the coverage limited?
Yeah, like for just $5,000, right?
No.
Sewer backup.
There may be policy peculiarities, but as far as we haven't come into any limits on any of our coverage.
Good.
No.
Yeah, that's good because a lot of times you have to take off the baseboards, you have to cut the drywall, a couple feet up.
Oh yes,
and then pull out all the carpeting, and I've even seen where the doors had to be removed.
Yes, that's right. If it comes up high enough to where the baseboards have been covered, if it gets to the bottom of the doors, like you mentioned, the doors would have to come out.
Anything that touches sewer water.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some pretty bad stuff. So I guess it is real. It is worth for $25. It's worth doing.
It certainly is. That's a good recommendation to put that on the policy.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That's something.
She asked if sewer backups are if they're that common, and in our area, in this local, county, several counties, there's over, it's estimated there's over 600 floods per month. These are floods of varying sizes. They can be something that a homeowner can clean up. Maybe a a sink overflowed and didn't get bad, to where sewer backed up or a main line breaks in a home and it completely floods it. So anywhere in the middle between that, there's over 600 of these. The average flood job, the average is a $2,500 job. So you're not talking a lot of money, but that's an average.
But it's
depending on your deductible, it certainly could be worth the coverage.
It's not much for the insurance company's perspective, I would think, but for the average homeowner, $2,500, that's a big chunk.
It is.
Yeah. So therefore, the $25 a year that she was talking about is a pretty good deal. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I think you guys should differentiate between a sewer backup and a septic backup. Sewer, could be related to the city or the county sewer system, and as opposed to a septic system, which I believe is the homeowner's total responsibility. And apparently they haven't been taking care of the septic system. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Well, either one, we're talking about the same type of water and the same type of contaminants. Whichever happens for whatever reason, and it could be something where the homeowner wasn't taking care of it. If it was a sewer, and then it could also be something where there was a plumbing leak and it was continually draining in and filled it and started backing up. So there's things that your insurance could cover, regardless of whichever direction, whatever the cause. Mainly what we're focusing on is whether it is sewer or it is septic. It's still called a Category 3 contamination.
Okay.
So that type of contamination, everything needs to go. You can't clean the carpet. You can't just call Joe's Cleaning Company and come in there and clean your rugs. You need
rugs.
Everything, the rugs, the carpets, the padding, everything that water, that contaminated water touched needs to be destroyed. And you need to use
biocides. You talking about the?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't think of the word.
Biocides,
detergent was the only word coming to mind, and that wasn't. You don't want to use your Tide there. No, you want to use a chemical in order to treat the area, and then dry it out properly, and then go do the rebuild as far as putting everything back.
And maybe he wanted us to differentiate because of the insurance part. In other words, from your perspective, the job is the same regardless.
Well, even if you have a sewer, or not a sewer, if you have a septic system, a septic system, it could still be an insurance covered loss. A lot of times, it really depends on what it is that caused it. If it's faulty maintenance on your part, where you have never had your septic drained,
hadn't been cleaned out, or
no maintenance to it. That's a different situation.
All right, the question that Joe Martone handed me.
This will be good. I'm excited.
Well, it's in Pig Latin. No, I'm teasing.
Okay.
Do you do out of state work? For example, somebody might have two homes, one here and another in a different state. So you've got a customer who loves your work. A tree falls on his house in Kentucky. Will you go help him out?
Joe wants us to work on his mountain, his mountain mansion.
See,
we have not typically.
It's the big bucks.
Typically, we are a family company, and we enjoy being home at night with our families.
There you go.
So, typically we don't.
Yeah.
However, we have gone to Georgia to work. We've done extended trips up there. We've gone south and worked in Tampa, in Orlando, Kissimmee, and spent the week in these locations.
Because we do have family in those areas and friends that maybe there's a project or something. So
the it depends answer really applies in this one.
Right.
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah, that sounds like a good answer.
I mean, we have helped a friend of ours, a contractor in the local area. He had a disaster in one of his homes, and we worked more as a consultant for him to fix that home. He didn't really need us to go there to fix it, and that's one thing. I mean, we can help people through the process, even if it's just a phone call.
John Travolta has an airplane. He probably could get you home by night.
That's true.
So he'd be okay, right?
Right. So it really depends on what the disaster is. We've gone to Daytona and worked over there.
Did you have any pipe freezing calls I guess it wasn't that many cold days, but have you had any this year yet? Not yet?
Not yet this year. But every year we do have some.
When the water freezes, this is maybe a dumb question, but speaking of the septic systems, does it ever freeze that pipe? Is that water ever frozen and causing problems? I've never heard of it, but...
No, it's not under pressure. So there's not water setting in the line to allow.
Oh, that's true.
It's the line that's under pressure that has the water setting in it constantly.
I gotcha, right.
And that water freezes and expands, and once it gets to the point where there's nowhere to go, the weakest point
I had
breaks.
an Old Faithful.
Yeah.
I had an Old Faithful freeze, on a pump. I had a water pump, and it just...
Yeah, eventually they'll get weak, years after years of that expanding.
Yeah.
PVC will expand somewhat, so if it's exposed for years, it'll eventually fail.
Have you ever had like a chain reaction damage that's, let's say, started out with I don't know, insects, and then it led to a electrical fire, and then and then of course a fire? I mean, or is that hard to figure out?
Sometimes it's hard to figure out, especially if it's whatever the damage is we're responding to is extensive. You might not be able to tell exactly what started it. There could have been a chain reaction.
Well, one of the chain reaction disasters that we always have is mold. There's something.
Really?
There's something causing a water intrusion of some sort. So, one that we just finished was a home with wood flooring and wood and tile, but the wood, underneath the wood, was completely saturated with water. And what was happening is the plumbing, where it went into the ground from the commode, the plumbing pipe coming out of the going into the ground was not attached right. So every time they flushed the commode, water was going into under their floor.
Holy cow!
They did the concrete and the wood floor.
Yeah, between the concrete and the wood floor. They did not know it was there, but they had mold. So when we went in there, we created a barrier, barricaded the whole area off as far as so the mold wouldn't go anywhere else in the home, and then we started demolitioning the area, pulling up the wood floor, and found standing water under the floor. And fortunately, this was a hall bathroom that wasn't used very often, or else they would have had a major problem. But the water was trapped; it couldn't go anywhere. So this created mold.
Oh wow!
A chain reaction.
Right.
So the mold is what they called you for.
That's right.
And you discovered there was more
There was
to
a plumbing leak.
Ah, okay.
So under their floor, a plumbing leak under their floor that was seeping water throughout the house. So
in weeks past, I've kind of been asking you questions, and then toward the end you had a topic, and I didn't realize you had one. So before we get there, do you have a topic today?
Well, we wanted to talk water, so we're doing good on topic.
Because I noticed this on a couple of the past shows. I was like, oh man, I wish we knew earlier what your topic was. Don't be shy when you have a topic. Just say, Larry, today we're going to talk about...
We were thinking slab leaks at one point.
Slab leaks?
Yeah, underneath the slab there can be leaks that we may not be aware of. And I was noticing, researching for the show, that a pinhole, just a pinhole in the copper pipes, can use up to 10,000 gallons a month. And many times that's not even noticeable.
That's huge.
That's a lot of water. An average house of 4 uses about 12,000 gallons a month. A household. A family of 4.
Wow, just a pinhole.
So just a pinhole leaking, and sometimes that's not noticeable. It might not surface if there's not a crack. If the ground under the slab may give way before it rises, so the leak could just continue. So of course you'll see this on your bill. If you notice, if you're in the city, if you're being charged per gallon, the bill will shoot up, $10, $15, $20 a month. Or your electric bill.
So that's your clue that something's wrong, your red flag.
Yeah, it's just all at once. And I noticed this in my house all at once from May to June. The little graph that the city shows, my graph shot to the top.
Really?
Used 12,000 gallons in 1 month.
Oh, wow. And what happened?
Well, there was a hose bib outside that I never used. Oh. Was leaking a steady drip, just a drip, 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 like a real steady drip. And I had to replace the hose bib because it was too...
Isn't that amazing? It was 12,000 gallons?
12,000 gallons.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just
watching
for things like that. Sometimes it is damaged, but sometimes it's not.
Well, yeah, it's important to always have if you have a faucet steady leaking, it's important to replace it.
So now, when you were just talking about the water that was trapped between the wood floor and the concrete floor, to me, that sounded like a lot of work, but it also sounded like good news because the concrete is probably okay.
The concrete was okay. We went in and we, like I said, we set up a barrier, and we left the equipment, took out all the wood flooring, took out the damaged drywall, and we set up our equipment, the fans and the dehumidifiers, and we were able to dry everything out in a matter of a couple days. So, and then worked on replacing everything.
The debate or argument or disagreement sometimes arises. Which is better, the wood frame home or the concrete block home? You guys work on both all the time.
Absolutely.
So you've got an insight onto which is better. Which is?
Well, it's still personal preference.
It's still debatable, huh?
Sure. I mean, which is better? I mean, some people really enjoy the feeling of a wood home. They feel that it's warmer, that, not just necessarily warmer temperature-wise, but they just feel more comfortable in a wood home. If you were raised in a wood home, some people feel it. You have some people just like the feeling of a block home.
Right.
And they feel that they can sleep better with the strength of block and concrete floor beneath their feet. It's just what you're raised with, what your preference is.
Oh, okay. So even all the damage that you've seen, and I'm guessing one, or do they have the same types of damage, or?
Could have the same type of damage.
Well, I mean, if you have a wood frame home that's built up on a stem wall, and there's a floor, a crawl space underneath it, you're not going to have a slab leak.
Right.
However, if you have a plumbing leak in a house with a wood floor system, you're going to be replacing the wood floor. So,
yeah,
I mean, each one has its own. A tree falls on a block home, you're going to have broken block.
There you go.
A tree falls on a wood frame home, you're going to have broken studs, and so they'll either one, both have their benefits, both have their disadvantages. It's a toss up. As long as they're built using the modern codes and built properly, they're going to withstand the 2010 building code.
Right.
I mean, they're going to be able to withstand the wind and storms.
Yeah.
However, any home can be damaged.
Can you comment? I don't know if this applies to damage control necessarily, but could you comment on your opinion of the hot water heater, the typical tank, compared to the instant hot water heater that goes near the sink? Do you like them, dislike them? Are they trouble? Are they a good idea? What?
I have heard very good opinions from people that have the instant hot water. Now, there's more than one type of instant hot water. Some is the just a tankless hot water system that's gas operated, but they don't have a tank. They're just rapid recovery. The hot water is pretty much instant, and it could be located in the garage just like a normal hot water heater.
Oh, really?
Yes, and those have very good reviews. The good thing about it is you never run out of hot water, because there's not a tank, a reservoir of hot water.
Right.
But what you're speaking of, I believe, is the instant hot that would be near the sink. I haven't
I
seen
didn't
too much of those.
I didn't realize there was one that could be in the garage. I thought they were all near the faucet.
They can be mounted outside the home.
Outside?
I didn't realize that.
On the wall outside.
But so far, I'm guessing you haven't had any damage that resulted from one of them.
Not from an inline, but I mean any plumbing leak. Any plumbing can have a leak.
We've had the regular hot water heaters burst.
Regular hot water heaters over time will rust out, cause a problem. They will leak, and we've had quite a bit of damage caused by hot water heaters.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because if they leak, they're usually in a hidden spot too, right?
Right.
We do have a phone call, and good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Good morning, Sonny again.
Hey, Sonny.
Good morning.
I have an all-electric house. I looked into one of those tankless heaters, and it would have been an electric deal. The only thing is they pulled such amperage that I would have had to upgrade the electrical service and everything else just to install that, because simply everything else in the house is electric, including your heat and your stove and all your other appliances.
Right. Yes.
So this is something that you have to be careful of if you're thinking about an all-electric instant hot water.
Yeah. Do you have gas available in your area, Sonny?
Excuse me?
Do you have natural gas available in your area?
Yes.
Is that an option? Would that something you'd look into installing a hot water gas inline system?
No, I work for utilities, and I've had too many bad experiences with gas or seen too many catastrophes with gas, and I'm leery of a natural gas system.
Okay.
When they go big time.
Well, all have their advantages and disadvantages. I mean, we've responded to a lot of fires that have been caused by electrical systems too. So electrical fires.
Well, yeah.
So it really depends. I mean, you know, like I said, each one has its advantages, disadvantages, and gas seems to be the way everybody's going now as far as hot water systems and, you know, the instant hot water heating
well,
systems.
it's still economical compared to electric, but I can run out there, yank the seal, and pull the meter. If in the worst case scenario with an electrical problem.
Right.
Sure.
Gas, you can turn it off at the meter, but for some reason, if there's a major problem, a lot of times there's like a pressure regulator in the meter, and I don't know how the new ones are, but the older ones had like a mercury in there that helped regulate the pressure, and sudden surge or something could deteriorate the mercury, and you could have definite problems trying to shut that off. And anybody is shutting off the gas, remember it's only a quarter turn, not a half, on that valve.
Okay.
Okay?
Excellent.
Good advice.
Talk to you later.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sonny.
I got a couple of good pieces of advice today. Between that and the insurance. So how do we get a hold of you? What's your number?
My number, Rob, is area code 352-817-3625.
All right, and Joe?
And my direct line is 352-817-6574, or you could call either one of us. You could reach us at the office at 352-622-5135.
All right. Did you stay up till midnight last night?
And beyond.
I was woken up at midnight.
Oh, you were sleeping? Fireworks?
Yes.
Fireworks or Joe? Did Joe wake you?
No, it was the fireworks. Looking for earplugs.
That's
Have
what
a
happened
great
to me too. Me too. Fireworks. I almost called damage control. I had a firework hit my house. What am I going to do?
That would have been a good one.
Oh my goodness! The music is supposed to be there, not that. All right. Thank you guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Take
Have a great day.
We'll take a little break and be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. A nice day today with a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 74 to 78. It'll turn out mostly cloudy tonight, low 58 to 62. Clouds will limit sunshine tomorrow, high 76 to 80. Thursday, intervals of clouds and sun with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around.